Great.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
There you go.
All right.
Billy Sheehan
Right
interview. Resident Magazine.
Oh yeah. I saw that in the email.
Very cool.
Did they have like some water and coffee and stuff?
Yeah, we can get to it.
I just need a cup of black would be fine, and maybe some water in case.
You want me to go to Starbucks?
Oh no, don't they have it here? Usually, they had it all set up already and stuff. So
I can get you a Starbucks or specialty if you want, though.
yeah, anything. Just need a blue black coffee. Thank you. I don't want to be too demanding on these guys because there's really nothing they can do. So
Yeah.
some guys come in and do these clinics and oh, it's got to be this, it's got to be that. And I say, just play.
I love the fact that you were, just interacting with the younger guys. It was so cool for me to see
Oh, they're great.
young bass players. My son is 16.
Yeah,
He's a bass player. Very excited about that.
that's cool. Yeah, we're nice kids out there.
Just want to do an overview real quick on
Sure.
Winery Dogs. Go over the album, new tour, everything's coming out, everything
Sure.
we can expect from you guys, this new project.
Well, the Winery Dogs is a new band. Mike Portnoy contacted me. We put it together, got a hold of Richie, and wrote about 5 songs the first time we got together. Sat down in a room, not much bigger than this, a little tiny drum kit, a little small bass amp, a little guitar amp, microphone, a little tiny little couple speaker PA thing. And that's a perfect way to write a record, in my humble opinion, anyway, because it's real. You're in a room together, and you're writing the way real bands used to write when music was real. So, not that it isn't anymore, of course, but it's just the classic way of doing stuff, So I'm glad that we launched just like that. We got together again the next day, did a few more. Mike had to go out, he comes back, we did a bunch more. So we had a whole record in a very short amount of time. And then we put together all the other things you need to do, rearrangements and stuff like that. I got like a basic demo just to get an idea to do lyrics, and I went back in and cut it. When I came to town, we cut it real quick, real fast, and real live. Real alive. So we didn't have a producer, we just had an engineer guy doing the mix. And then we gave it to a guy named Jay Rustin to mix it. He's the up-and-coming hot guy. And I had nothing to do with it. They just gave him the stuff, and he did it. Now, I almost never make records like that. I'm in there on the mix, and so he said, you know what? Do your thing. And it came out, we were supremely pleased with how it came out. So.
Very cool. And it's dropping July?
In July. And released in Japan already. People always wonder why that is.
Give me the reason.
We have nothing to do with it. The thing is, Japan is quick.
Okay.
They can get a record out in 30 days. In the US, it's usually about 90. And the deal in the US took longer also. The deal in Japan basically paid for the record. And so because they paid for it, they got the rights to it first. And it doesn't mean we prefer to give it to Japan, or we're giving it to Japan first for any other reason than just pure business. And it happens a lot, and I have to make that explanation a lot, because people think we have a lot to do with what goes on around us, and in fact we don't. Like, we don't choose where we play. So they say, why aren't you playing in Ecuador? Well, because the ancients in Ecuador did not take a gig, Last Mr. Big Tour, we're dying to play in Canada. Our manager was hitting every Canadian agent he could. Nobody wanted a gig. So we couldn't play. So why didn't you play in Toronto? What's wrong with you guys? It's not up to us. It's not up to us. So same thing. So we're going to do, since the record's out in Japan first, we'll go there and play. And then we leave from there to go to South America. They're doing US and European dates, booking them up now. So we'll be busy the rest of the year pretty much with this project.
Great. And when will you be back in New York for the tour?
I have no idea.
No idea.
Not even the slightest.
Too soon. It's too soon down the road bit. Great. Excited to hear this. So I saw the video. Yeah. Some of it is very cool stuff.
It's been supremely positive response from everybody.
You work with Niacin, and there's a unique version of Mean Streets on there. Where did that come from? We got to go into some Van Halen stuff. Sorry. Yeah.
Well, on the Women and Children First tour, my old band Talus opened up for Van Halen. So it was before the Fair Warning tour. So the intro to Mean Streets was part of Eddie's solo.
Yeah.
And I remember, because we were the opening act, I could get in the pit and watch him. He's doing this, and it was like, and I would go back and go. I could not figure out how he was doing it. I realized, oh, he's got the left. It's basically a slap bass part.
100%.
So I did it. I figured it out. I think I play it right. I might play it wrong. I don't know, but it sounds right to me. And so I just thought it was kind of a. I love the groove of it. You know, it's a real. So I thought Dennis would kill on that. And I just like the idea of using B3 for vocal and guitar parts, because there was a time when it was more important in a band to have a B3 than a guitar player.
Totally.
It was the time. Exactly right. And I remember that time, carrying having to lug B3s around all the time. We went through a couple guitar players in a few bands, and they mattered not, but the B3 and the Leslie, man, you had to have that because it's the sound you needed. So that song just kind of grew out of the fact that I had some knowledge of how that lick was played. Dennis would do a funkified job from hell on it.
Yeah.
And doing it as a B3 thing kind of made it gave it kind of a late 60s vibe to me.
I thought a Ray Manzarek was coming. You know,
oh, cool, that's good.
Very much. I felt that sort of feel. It's pretty amazing. On Light Up the Sky on the Bass Heroes compilation, is that you singing?
No, it's Doug Pinnick.
Okay.
Boys of Every, what a voice.
He does.
Yeah, what a Vinnie Colaiuta, Yngwie Malmsteen, myself, and Doug Pinnick.
Oh.
I tell people that, they go, "You're kidding." And Vinnie is amazing. He had never heard the song.
Okay.
And we played it for him once. And he went in and tracked it.
Wow.
Pretty amazing.
That is, for him not ever hearing it, that's pretty actually amazing. You did a really cool compilation album, and most people I don't know, most people have heard of it. It's called Sinatra.
Oh yeah.
That was a lot of fun. I liked it a lot. Where'd that come from?
Well, it was a team of guys out in LA, and they do a lot of these tribute records, ACDs, and they bring people from all kinds of different bands and come and play on it. And they're fun to play. And we always get together with people that you never see any other time, because they're always traveling, so that's always the fun of it. But in my humble opinion, Glenn Hughes singing I've Got You Under My Skin is one of the greatest vocal performances ever recorded in the history of mankind. I heard it, I started laughing in the middle of it because it was so good, I couldn't believe it. And then I heard the story. He just came in and laid it down. And he kind of didn't, some of the lyrics he didn't quite know, so he had to look at the sheet for a minute. But there's no pitch fixes. They didn't spend hours punching and overdubbing. He was out of there in about 40 minutes. And I know it's true because he sang a Niacin song years ago, a song called Things Ain't Like They Used to Be. Steve Lukather played guitar, all the regular Niacin guys, and Glenn came in and sang it. And we were out of there in less than an hour.
Wow.
Done, finito, and he killed on it. So what a voice, what a voice.
You're all over that. You're like the backing band, right? You're the bassist on Sinatra.
I think I played on all those tracks, yeah.
It seemed like it. It seemed like you're like all basically.
It was easier this time to just use one bass player than bring in different bass players for each song, so it made it a little easier.
On some of your solo records, how do you sort of how do you save some stuff? You know what I'm saying? Like on some of your solo stuff, and then you bring something nice in, or you bring something to.
I write a lot.
The project to the Winery Dogs. You bring something to all these different projects. How do you save it? Oh man, I want to. This is gonna be for Holy Cow, or this is gonna be this is gonna be my.
I write a real lot, and I got a huge. And for my solo records, I start with about 60 songs. Wow. And pare that down to 40. And the next step is next chopping block. We take out another 20. We'll go in the studio with usually 16 or 18. Out of that, we'll get 14. Out of that, 12 go on the record. So it's a chopping process that goes on all the way. So there's never a shortage of material, and I've got stuff from way back. I just archived all my cassette writing sessions where I got 4 cassette players onto 8 tracks of digital. I'd hit play on all of them, start the recording. We would digitally archive all of my cassettes from the 70s. Some of the cassettes were sold. I had to unscrew them, open them up, take the reel out, and put it in another case and screw it back in together to get it to work. Wow. But I got them all, and I managed to archive them all. So there's even more in the archive. So, and I think it's important. A lot of people don't realize, and I think it's true with all songwriters, that you write a lot of stuff. Write a lot of stuff. I've thrown away probably a 30-to-1 ratio of songs that actually made it onto a record. Probably 30-to-1. There's 30 songs that were thrown out for every one that showed up on a record. Wow, a lot of songs. And I think it's important for writers to write a lot.
Okay, settle a bet or an argument that's been going on for quite a while. came up with the first two-handed technique? It's some people say it's you.
I got it from Billy Gibbons.
You got it from Billy Gibbons, so you did not from Eddie. I mean, Billy Gibbons.
No, I was doing it for years before Van Halen came on.
Okay.
But Eddie was probably doing it too.
Right.
It's just he wasn't famous, nor was I. So I thought for sure I might get famous with it because people used to come and see it. And thank you so much.
It's just black.
If you can get a cord for this amp.
Oh.
Thanks. So I was open, but what's the name? It's okay. I'll put it on here. I can take care of that later.
You can take care of it.
That's all right.
Can you get any video of him? Is your
I'm cool.
video player any good?
Okay.
But then when I heard when Eruption came out, I remember being in a car listening. Oh shit! Like thing.
Like that, man.
But in all fairness, and I would never be so self-aggrandizing as say, well, I was doing it. You know, it doesn't matter. Paganini was doing it. You know,
Okay.
so it's not a new thing. There's a piece called "Attack of the Giant Hogweed" by Genesis,
Sure.
and it goes.
That sounds familiar.
That's how it goes.
There you
Which
go.
is almost exactly, and that came out in the early '70s. Yeah, it just popped right out. So there's nothing new under the sun, I believe. But I have to give Eddie the credit to say, thank you, bro. What he did with it was just so amazing, so great that I would never be so foolish as to lay claim. You know what I mean? But he was very nice to me from the very beginning. So I thought that said a lot. He never. We got on tour with them, and he was like, you can do that hammer on stuff. You know, he was great right away.
He's like, you don't own it, right?
No, nobody owns it.
Yeah.
Our first gig with Van Halen, we were in a dressing room, L-shaped, and so I could see the rest of the room, and I could see the door, but they couldn't see the door. And we're sitting in there, you know, and talking, getting ready for the show, and all of a sudden the door opens up, and Ed Van Halen comes walking in. And then all my friends told me later, they go, we saw this look on your face. I couldn't believe it. Here comes Eddie walking in, never met me before. He walks in and sees everybody, goes, which one of you guys is Billy Sheehan? I go, me, I am. So he was just, I heard about your playing and stuff. So he was generous and wonderful, and I love him, and I love everything about his playing completely.
There's there's always been this rumor that he wanted you to replace Michael Anthony. Is there truth to that? Or?
For a long time I lied and denied it.
Okay.
But in fact it was true. 3 separate occasions I got offered the gig.
3 separate occasions.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Wow.
but I love Michael, and I'm torn. Even when I went to play with Dave, I wanted David Van Halen, you know, but he wasn't, and he called me, so I went, you know, of course. But because I'm a fan first, and Michael Anthony.
I can tell that from your
it's true.
interviews, and you're definitely real.
Definitely a fan. So and it didn't work out. I don't know ultimately if it would have really worked.
So you're saying you went down to jam with them one time? Is that what you're saying?
At one point I did.
Wow.
In more recent years I did. I went to jam with them. But
Always finding some information here.
but in the old days we just exchanged, and I know it was for real because I saw them in Toronto on tour, and Dave was backstage, and he mentioned it to me too. So it wasn't just me and Eddie talking. So apparently he had talked with the rest of the band about it. So, but I am torn because I love Michael, and I don't know if I was a fan and I didn't know me and suddenly saw me up there, I don't know. What happened to Michael? What the fuck, you know? So it's a funny thing. But I'm incredibly honored that they even know who I am at all. Other than, aside from being so incredibly generous to offer that gig to me at one point.
So you said 3 different times he's actually
Yes.
And you at one time you were in a room with David, Edward, and Alex, and you were jamming, or
No. I did jam with Ed and Al
Oh wow, okay.
up at Ed's house
When the Sammy years or
right after that.
Sharon? So it was in Sharon.
So, but I love that. I did play with him one time. We did a show in Chicago together for a benefit. But I think I'm the only guy now that has played with every member of Van Halen, because I just played with Sammy Hagar.
Right.
Wow.
The only guy.
And Gary Sharon.
Played with Gary Sharon.
What about I'll go real deep, Mitch Malloy?
Who's that?
Yeah, it was this lead singer they were going to bring in there before Sharon. And they
No kidding. I didn't know.
That's wild though, man.
You gotta forgive Mr. Meyer. We are both Van Halen.
Oh, I'm Van
experts,
Halen. My iTunes, I got Van Halen demos and old stuff.
Have you ever met Michael Anthony and discussed it, or you just?
We never discussed it. I didn't want to, but I have hung with Michael a lot, and he is a sweet, wonderful, great guy. And the early tapes of him playing Van Halen, he's killing on bass and singing his ass off.
Right.
So
There's a huge misconception with his playing. I think it's really unfair to him.
I agree. He's awesome.
I gotta write this up. You were told to turn it down for Skyscraper. Is that why you didn't?
Well, everybody was. The whole band just kind of changed. We didn't get together in a room and play like we did Freedom and Smile. We didn't record together. There was no fun hanging stories, drinking and partying and having a great time. It was kind of got
serious.
A little serious. And Dave is still my hero and always will be. And I give him credit because he took a chance. He wanted to catch that dance wave. He saw that dance thing coming.
Yeah.
So he did a lot of stuff that was kind of almost dance oriented with the synth stuff and everything. But as you probably well know, if you're in a rock band, the dance people don't know anything at all about you. And if you go and try to do dance, the rock people will turn their backs on you like that. And unfortunately they did. So it didn't work out. But like I said, Dave is still my hero. And
what was the songwriting process like in Needham and Smile? Compared to Skyscraper?
We sat in a room and down in Dave's basement, me, Steve, and Greg, and we would pound shit out and get them ideas, and Dave would come down and say, yeah, it's good, it sounds like a verse, think of a chorus. We'd come up with a chorus, yeah, all right, now a bridge, and we'd put on a little cassette, Dave would throw some words down and come down. At the end of the night, we'd come down and drink a beer left over from the US Festival that was skunk, but we didn't care. We were drinking and telling stories and hanging out. It was a ride. On the weekends we'd go out, we call ourselves the Dave Gang, go out there in Hollywood, and just it was great. It was amazing. It was some of the best times ever.
There's been some talk about an EAS reboot.
I haven't heard any talk, but I had dinner recently with all the guys, other than Dave, because we couldn't find him. And we just had a great time together. They're still my dearest friends.
Yeah, you guys get together right once in a while.
Yeah,
and,
Steve and Greg.
Buy and everything. Yeah, so cool. What do you contribute to your unique style?
Being in a three-piece band and playing in bars for years. Playing songs that required a lot more instrumentation. Carry On Wayward Son, Schizoid Man, and White Punks on Dope. We're all done with a lot of people, but we did them three-piece, and I had to do a lot of extra things to make up for it. And the Buffalo bar scene was amazing. We did 21 nights in a row one time. So the constant playing just enabled me to
just keep going and going.
Just fine-tune and fine-tune.
Practice makes perfect.
So I owe a lot to that town.
Who's your favorite drummer and who challenged you the most?
Dennis Chambers and Dennis Chambers.
Nice.
There you go.
He's the baddest cat in the world. He's my favorite musician.
Who's your dream jam band? You could have anyone you wanted to.
Dennis, Paco de Lucia, and maybe like a great fives player or cellist or something.
Okay.
Unusual instrument.
Real weird. How does your religion play anything in your music? How does your religion play anything in your music?
My relation.
Your religion? I'm sorry.
My religion?
Yes.
It's just.
Would you call Scientology more of a philosophy?
I would. It happens to be religious in nature, but it's basically a philosophy. There's no practice. There's no funny hats or praying. So other religions, they got all the funny hats taken off, but we didn't have any. There's not a lot for us. And it's just that it keeps things, just a real logical way of looking at things and troubleshooting things and learning too. One of the best courses I ever took was called the Student Hat. And it hats you as a student how to study. Because people say, hey, well, study this. Well, okay, well, does that mean read it? Or does that mean, what does it mean actually to study something? So to really learn the subject of study opens the entire world up to you. Because now that you really know how to study, man, and at the time I was just beginning to get into computers, and I was lost. Okay. And thankful for that course, man, I was troubleshooting I was on the phone tech supporting my friends like in no time.
Right.
So that was a big game. But other than that, I don't. I just hope that my life is good and helpful to other people. And if that's the case, then mission accomplished.
There you go. Very good. I think that's all that matters at the end of the day. Last question. Where do you see the music business in 10 years?
Mostly live, which I'm glad about. I think it'll boom again. I think it'll be big and giant again. Music is the greatest art form. It's the strongest imprint you can have on a person's brain or mind. You'll remember songs before you remember anything else. My mom's 87 years old on her deathbed. We're putting on a Sinatra. And she, the orchestra was so and so and the singer, and she knew the lyrics and everything. It was other than that pretty much unfunctional. But man, she heard the Sinatra. She knew exactly what was going on.
And what happened that day, and
pretty amazing.
That's amazing what music does. It does bring it back.
It really is.
John's wrapped up. I mentioned earlier my son Jack is a bass player, and I just wanted to ask you, what do you say to a 16-year-old kid who's playing bass? What is some good advice you would give to?
Is he playing in bands?
Not sure. I encourage him to.
You got to get in a band and learn songs. Because guys will sit around and they'll do this all day and they're going nowhere fast. They go, well, I got all this shit, and you got to be on stage with a mic, sing, play, and learn songs. And that was everything for me. Everything else came from that, and all that fancy schmancy nonsense. That all came from, I wouldn't have been able to do it unless I was on stage playing. There were people in the audience, and the reason they were there because we were playing songs they liked. And then we took a little break, and I did my shtick and went back to playing Robin Trower and Joe Walsh and the Who.
John and I were at the Meadowlands Brendan Byrne Arena on October 10th, 1986.
Right
when
on.
Cinderella opened up for you guys. At the end of the show, it was Dave's birthday, and 36 bikini-clad young ladies came out and blew our 17-year-old minds.
With a birthday.
That's all they blew.
Funniest memory from that tour for you personally?
Oh man, the stories go hard and deep.
I'm sure.
And the stories are kind of performance art. So unfortunately, I need to have like a bottle of red open up, a bunch of people in a room, a little bit of a confidentiality agreement, and then we let them go.
Fair enough, Billy. Wow,